Thank you, Daniel. And Project Infant, just search it and you'll find all the wonderful work that is being done. Our next speaker is one of our two guest speakers this afternoon. And over the years here, we've had some surprises. Some people have come to attend from the four corners of the world. It's been wonderful to see them. I'm thinking of one woman who has come just locally now, who, if I'm allowed to say it, Una will soon be celebrating her 95th birthday, ladies and gentlemen, here in the front row. Would have spent time here. But our next speaker came to us a number of years ago. If I remember correctly, it was in her capacity at the time as the chair of the Adoption Authority. And she spoke here, where I'm standing, for a good 5 or 10 minutes. And at the end of it, she revealed something that none of us knew. None of us knew. She revealed that she herself was a Bessborough baby. Ladies and gentlemen, Patricia Carey.
Thanks very much, PJ, and it's lovely to be back here. Now I can say it's my third time to be in Bessborough, and as I drove up the long and quite ominous drive, I tried to imagine what it was like for those mothers and many of you here today. And I know I felt my stomach turn a little bit, so I can only imagine the fear, the terrible anticipation, the wonder, where am I? I've spoken to women who didn't know where they were, and I know some of you are here today. And many of the mothers, most of them left without their children that were taken from them forcibly. So I want really to acknowledge the mothers that are here, and as Daniel said, the children who never left. I want to thank Carmel and Martin and all my friends from Cork over the years for inviting me here. In my new role as Special Advocate for Survivors in the last 3 months, it's only 3 months since I started, about 400 survivors have contacted me. And I want to talk about the issues and the concerns that are coming up time and time again. The first one is that survivors are again excluded. They are excluded from what is called a payment scheme, and I think that word is reprehensible. It is redress, and 24,000 children who are born in mother and baby homes are excluded. This is not a payment scheme. You get paid for something you do. This is redress for what happened to people, and I think we need to acknowledge that. It's not payment, it's redress. Anyone who suggests that only 2 mother and baby homes in Ireland had work going on in them is frankly, I don't know what planet they're living on. How anyone could suggest that of the mother and baby homes that work only took place, that nappies were washed and floors were scrubbed in 2. And that's what this scheme says, and we must challenge it. How anyone could say that somebody who spent less than 6 months in an institution cannot or has not suffered trauma really needs their head examined, to be quite honest. And how anyone could suggest that an arbitrary list of county homes and a small number of baby homes were the institutions where people were incarcerated and abused is frankly wrong. There are over 200, probably 300-400, and I know that thanks to people like Catherine O'Donnell, more research is going on to find these institutions. Also to mention the thousands of children who are boarded out, and I know they were mentioned here, completely excluded, completely unmentioned. Children as young as 4 and 5 and 6 who were sent as strangers to people's houses to live in barns, to pick potatoes. I met a woman recently who was 16 when somebody said, "It's your birthday." And she said, "What is a birthday?" She had never had one. All of these exclusions you know so well, and all of these exclusions must be challenged. And I think that with partners and supporters like the Irish Human Rights and Equality Commission and other institutions, we will challenge these exclusions from the incarceration in the institutions. Survivors have told me that they're sick and tired of being over-consulted and under-delivered. They're sick of surveys, they're sick of meetings, they're sick of all these things where the government says, come and talk to us, and nothing happens. And actually, worse than nothing happens, the recommendations of those affected people have been ignored. And they've been ignored for decades. And it's wonderful to see so many people here today, but we must unite our voices and say, this is not good enough. As PJ said, we're marching to end war. We're marching for that young woman who was terribly attacked in the street. Why are we not marching for the missing and dead children and women of Ireland? In 2021, the Taoiseach made yet another apology for mother and baby institutions, and I think many of you here today know how hollow apologies ring when they're not followed up by action. He said, and I quote, "Each of you deserved so much better. Each of you deserves so much better." So why, we ask again and again, are we not receiving so much better? Why, as Carmel said, are certain institutions pitted against others? We know that there's work going on in Tuam, there was certain work in Sean Ross Abbey. Each exclusion further diminishes this apology. It diminishes all apologies that were given to mothers, to the babies born, to the babies that died, and the women and children whose lives were ruined. Bessborough in particular had the highest infant mortality rate. And I was interested to hear Carmel's reference to James Deany. And I know when the Chief Medical Officer came here, some things changed, but many things didn't. Children still died. Women still had babies with no medical nurse intervention. And finally, survivors tell me they want to tell their stories, they want to be heard. They want to unravel what happened, they want the world to listen. And in order to do this, I think two fundamental things have to happen. We must receive all of the records, all of the religious institutions, all of the private individuals, all of the people who have boxes in their attics, photographs. They must now give them, because it could be the missing piece of a jigsaw for thousands of people. Religious orders have no right to hold on to these records. None whatsoever. They must be handed over to the correct authorities so we can write the history of affected people in Ireland. And the second thing is we must teach the history. Young people now, if you say mother and baby institutions, Magdalene laundries, industrial institutions, do they know what we're talking about? I worry in 10 years' time our history will be forgotten. Stop talking about the 1916 Rising. Talk about the institutional abuse that took place in Ireland for centuries. In conclusion, as we walk back down the long drive of Bessborough, if we remember each other and unite together, we can make change. We can do it together. We've done it before, the work that was done with the Magdalene women. And I believe the power of Carmel's voice and all your voices that are coming here together. In conclusion, I want to finish with a poem by another affected person, a survivor called Connie Roberts, who grew up in multiple institutions. And this, I suppose, is really for Carmel's mum and all the mums here. It's called Holy Angels. Where the babies slept, mottled white steel cots lined up like infanteries. Soiled nappies steeping in green and red buckets. A young girl bottle feeds a baby and puts him down for the night. Next day, whispers to her friend in school how he never woke up. Thank you.